Tall Grass is a Netflix movie based on Stephen King, I think Joe Hill, which Joe Hill is Stephen King's son. I think it's based off a short story. So what's the Tall Grass about? Well, it's about families, friends, loved ones getting lost in the tall grass, and can they ever escape? When you hear voices coming from the tall grass, are they real voices, or is it the grass talking? So what I like about this movie, the very beginning had me hooked. It really did. Because I'm one of those people, like, I stare at the ocean. If I stare at it long enough, I kind of get freaked out because you get lost. Like, how could people do that in the 1500s of, like, you don't know where you're going. You just see ocean. You're like, you know what? We're going. So that's the same with the tall grass, like, getting lost in that in cornfields kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies of, like, ooh, getting lost in that. Kind of is a little freaky. And they had the great atmosphere of these people getting lost. You're hearing voices. There's different people in the grass. But then it takes a weird left turn in a very, very bad way. So what do I mean by that? So Stephen King books, you have like The Outsider, which is a vampire one. This is really good. There's not a lot of twists and turns. It's to the point. You like it. You're understanding it. But of course, Stephen King stuff, sometimes it goes into really, really awkward, like Mr. Mercedes. Great first book. I read the second one, and you can tell the third one's going to go straight supernatural, weird, like telekinesis stuff. I could be wrong, but I'm like, oh, why do you have to do that when Mr. Mercedes was a real story of, like, a bad guy? Now you have to make this supernatural. And this is what In Tall Grass does. It throws this supernatural grass creatures, aliens, like Mayan, relic, weird things. And you're just like, oh, we're going there. And it just wasn't viable, as well as how these people met up with each other. Is it a time traveling movie? I don't know, because all of a sudden these three main characters go in because they hear a boy. They find the boy, but the boy's been in the grass for months with the dog that's been dead, as well as the parents. And all of a sudden another character comes in, and they find that character, but now none of them are wearing the dirty clothes they were before. So to me, the aspect of the time traveling really didn't make sense, or they didn't even explain it to the audience of what was actually happening. So I didn't like that a lot. They just kind of expect you to be like, oh, this is supernatural. The Rock is changing the time, morphine, and you just need to understand that it was meant to be for all of them to meet up. And I'm like, I can't really buy that argument. The other argument, I want to say an argument, but something Stephen King does a lot. He puts a lot of family incest into a lot of his books. That was the one thing about Mr. Mercedes I didn't like. Spoiler alert, Mr. Mercedes has a scene where the main protagonist, or the main bad guy, wants to kill a neighbor's dog. So he basically poisons the ground beef. The mom cooks ground beef, and she eats the ground beef and dies. And then the boy has sex with his dead mother. And you're like, that's when I was like, I closed the book, and I'm like, and it's not just this book, it's It book, and apparently it was in the tall grass, because there's a scene of basically like the brother loving the sister so much and wanting to have sex with her and wanting him to be the father, and you're just like, well, why is this a recurring theme in all of his books or stories? It's like, come on, not all of them, but it's like, but anyway, in the tall grass, it turned really weird, like left, it gave you a curve that I didn't like. I like twists and turns, but this twist and turn I didn't like because it didn't make sense. And you're just supposed to act like it's supposed, like, the time traveling mechanism, I just don't understand of how it works, because now, the very end of the movie, I think the main guy was Tony Taylor. Anyway, one of the main guys, Tony, he's in the corn, but he does something. But is that his real body? Because isn't he still in New Hampshire or Maine or wherever they're from, Connecticut, because they're supposed to go to San Diego? No, or is it Ohio? I don't know. But you're just like, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I'm sorry. So In the Tall Grass will receive a 2 out of 5 with Futon, because at 40%. So see the critics' news scores gave this film. So you have critics a 35% and the users a 49%. Critics 62, users 158, and here's critic consensus. A potentially intriguing premise is rapidly lost in the weeds during In the Tall Grass, which struggles to stretch its slim source material to feature length. I have to 100% agree with that, because It starts off strong. You get the premise of, ooh, this grass is creepy. What's going on in this grass? And it goes the wrong way. They could have made it into a good horror movie, but they added stuff that just didn't make sense. So this is Chizaki the Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Well, no thing is Buffetonian, you Buffetonians. Thanks for watching and have a great day. And with this, I'm about to watch another Netflix movie because I haven't done a lot and I don't want to go out and spend money in the real world.